Good day, everyone. My name is Chloe Tan, and I'm the website content writer at Healy Consultants based in Singapore. I have with me today my coworker, Previn Pampan, a regular to this podcast. And he is one of our client relationship officers in our Singapore office. Hi, Previn.
Hi, Chloe. How are you?
Good. All right. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Not too bad.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So we're here today to discuss about a USA engagement that you have recently completed, right?
Yep. Correct.
Okay. Could you start us off by telling us a little bit about the engagement, a little bit of background, who the client was, and what they do?
Okay. So this engagement was for international bank account opening
Mm-hmm.
for our client based in New Zealand. So they have an entity that's already has an existing bank account, local bank account, but they have suppliers and customers from all around the world. So they prefer to have also an international bank account. So they engaged us to set up the bank account internationally. They had a few preferences on where they wanted the account to be. It was mainly in US, Europe, primarily. So, and just a very brief background of the client. They're based in New Zealand, and they specialize in titanium 3D printing services. So, that's just brief background. The client. And yep, so this engagement was a bank account opening engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so that's basically the summary of this engagement.
All right. So I'm guessing it's pretty like a simple and straightforward engagement. Were there like any specific challenges that you have to face?
Yep, so bank account opening engagements, I would say aren't uh, completely straightforward, but
Mm-hmm.
we do manage to get them completed without much hassle most of the time. Some of the difficulties that we faced or I faced during this engagement was because the client had some issues due to COVID lockdowns over the past year. So they weren't able to visit a notary to get the relevant documents notarized and certified. So that was one of the challenges that I faced, was that we had some delays that kept, extending the completion of the engagement
Mm-hmm.
because we had the account approved already by the bank. But we needed to complete one additional step, which was to get the account opening forms signed off physically, and then also the client's passport, proof of address, certified and notarized, and then couriered to the bank. But this was a challenge, particularly for this engagement, because the client had faced certain, restrictions in terms of COVID lockdowns and such. So this uh, kind of delayed the completion of the account opening, even
Mm-hmm.
though we got the approval from the bank, but the client was not able to courier these documents. So that was one challenge that was faced during this account opening engagement.
If I recall, like New Zealand and probably Australia too, they had more like
Right.
stricter like regulations because of like the pandemic, right?
Yes, correct. So this was why it actually dragged on for quite a bit because
Mm.
the restrictions was changing like every 2 to 3 weeks, and I think the notaries were not open at that point of time. So even though our client had all of the documents ready, but he was just not able to visit the
Mm-hmm.
notary to get all of these documents certified. So that was one of the challenges. Yeah.
Of course. That's great though that everything seems to be all right now. So like how long would you say that the engagement took about?
It took slightly over 3 to 4 months, but because the client had engaged us slightly earlier than that, but there were quite a few delays in terms of the client supplying us the documents and us getting feedback from the banks, because their reviews were kind of delayed as well. So it was just a lot of following up with the bank and following up with our client, and then we
Mm-hmm.
managed to get all of the documents and the information to the relevant, bank officers and from the bank to our client. So we managed to complete the engagement within the 3 to 4 months period.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So like, what were some of the highlights for this engagement for this engagement for you?
I think this was quite a fairly straightforward account opening engagement. I would in that aspect, I would say there was not much that were particularly interesting, but I think it was just a matter of patience and continuously liaising with our client to check if he's able to visit the notary, and also to try to find some alternative solutions, like for example, like online notarization, for example. But unfortunately, because the bank only accepts physical copied certification and notarization from a public notary, so that alternative, digitalized certification was not a solution for our client. So I think in that sense, it was just about getting the documents to the bank as soon as we could, within the our clients abilities, because they had some issues with the
Yeah, of
lockdown.
course.
Yeah. So that, I think, was one of the highlights, just trying to get the documents couriered as soon as we could, but within our clients availability, and with the lockdown,
Yeah,
all that
of
stuff.
course.
Yeah.
Well, Previn, thank you very much for giving us this short and sweet overview of your USA engagement. And we look forward to hearing from you with other engagements in the future. Thank you for your
Great.
time today.
Thanks, Chloe. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.